Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 36, and we are officially at, or just past, the halfway point of this challenge. It goes by super fast, and just a reminder to take advantage of each and every day and look for those areas where you can improve. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Look at what you're currently doing and work on improving that. Little baby steps, especially for those of you who are struggling. More questions, Martina, so let's get into it. This person writes, desk work. I know that even for my eyes, I should take regular breaks. However, I have a really difficult time regaining focus if I stand up and walk around every 20 minutes. For the sake of my low back and aging eyes, what are some helpful tips or strategies you use to get your work done and keep your body happy? Martina, what do you do?
Well, at first, I think that every 20 minutes is maybe a little bit exaggerated. I like to take personally my workload and then divide it into little subsection, and finish one task at the time. It can take up to 2 or 3 hours. I like to work standing. So a portion of the day I'm seated, the other portion I put even a box on my table and then use my computer from there. I like to stretch frequently. You can stand and then touch your toes. You can stretch your hip flexors for your lower back. So I personally, I don't get easily distracted because I have things, pre-planned. What about you?
Well, yeah, I was going to say every 20 minutes seems a little bit too frequent, but then I noticed that you say for the sake of my low back and aging eyes. So I'm assuming that you're getting up every 20 minutes because of those things. Yeah. What I would try to do is break up your work in such a way that you can get something, what's the best way for me to put this? Set up little points in your work where you can get something accomplished. Right? You set a goal for whatever it is through all the tasks that you have to do. Even say you're working just on one task, break that down into little bits and then try to get that done within a certain period of time. And you might find that you're that much more focused for that 20-minute segment. I'm assuming you can't because of your lower back and your aging eyes, but if you could go every 30 or 40 minutes, usually I tell people to get up and walk around every 30 minutes, go for a short walk. 30 minutes is pretty frequent. I mean, if you could do 40 minutes or something like that, I think that would be probably best. But yeah, I mean, that would be my suggestion for you. Get up, keep doing what you're doing, but maybe just try to prolong that time. If you can't do that, set some really set some tangible goals that you can get to or reach to in the work that you have set out for the day.
And I was just thinking actually that if your needs outside of your work is more elevated, maybe it's going to make you having to stand up less often more manageable. And then we're talking about just your non-exercise activity, right? I'm thinking that if you're not also seated in front of your screen for 3 hours at night watching TV, if you're more, if you walk more, even around the house, if you increase your level of activity outside of work, then it's going to make you such a much better sitter. I don't know if that's really you know what I mean? So at least you're not in discomfort when you have to sit for 40 minutes.
It sounded like you said babysitter.
You're a babysitter. Let's move on.
Yeah, so just one other thing I'll say about this, because you're asking for helpful tips or strategies here to get your work done. Just, again, maybe write it down on paper, everything you have to do, and then say, okay, in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to get X, X, Y, Z done, whatever. And then just really hone in for those 20 minutes, get up and give yourself a 10-minute break, and then just get back to it. That would be my suggestion for that. Okay. Moving right along here. This person asks, very quick recipes. Very quick recipes. So this is something that this person's asking help for. Martina, what do you suggest for very quick recipes? I mean, actually, we do have this. Remember, look in here. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say personally, and this, and this is what we do. We keep everything really simple, right? It's we don't do sauces, we don't do complex anything. We purchase food in bulk in general. We cook it in bulk, so I always have 3 or 4 sources of protein in my fridge. Between the egg whites, the eggs, the salmon at the moment, the beef and the chicken. And so when it's time for me to eat, I use my microwave. I have a little bit of oatmeal on the side with my chicken. I'm gonna have some fruit. I'm gonna have avocado in my salad. I'm gonna have my chicken's ready, my salmon is ready, my eggs. It can be done in 2 minutes. So for me, like putting together a meal of broccoli, chicken, and rice takes me only a few seconds.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly those things. I mean, when I look at this, when I see this question, I think of maybe foods that are, I mean, in this case, you got the food pre-made, so it's easy just to put it together.
Yeah.
In the case of myself, sometimes if I don't have something ready to go, well, I guess I always do, but if I'm looking for something maybe a little bit different, I'll go with these just basic foods that I find are very tasty and easily accessible. They're basically made for me. Things like Greek yogurt, things like I like cottage cheese, in particular large curd cottage cheese. So I'll do Greek yogurt, protein powder, and berries, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll do
oatmeal, protein powder, berries.
Yeah, just with water. It's very just good. Make it into a cereal. It may not sound that appetizing, but if you get a good protein powder, particularly one that is whey-based, because it just tastes better, or beef over plant-based, and better quality protein. But we'll talk about that soon enough. And you mix in some fruit and oatmeal. It's really, really good. I mean, you could have that with milk too. There's no reason why you can't have milk. So these are some really good, tasty go-tos, and they take a minute to do. And there's some good protein bars out there. You guys know I mentioned RX bars. Or Fit Stars ISO bars. Those are really, really good as well. A lot of protein bars out there on the market, but not very many good ones. Mm-hmm. RX bars and ISO bars are two really good bars that I recommend.
All right, so the next question has to do with protein powders, right? And this person does not love the taste of it. So, after a certain amount, what would you say about that? How to use protein powder?
Yeah, I mean, I personally like them in smoothies, and again, just coming back to the oatmeal thing. Yeah. One of my favorite smoothies that I do is I use a chocolate beef protein powder by ATP Labs. It's really, really good because it's just got a really good chocolate flavor. And I do banana, pineapple, so frozen pineapple that is, Greek yogurt, of course the beef protein powder, chocolate protein powder, and a mixed nut and seed butter. And sometimes I'll even throw in oatmeal in there if I'm looking for some extra carbohydrates. Right. And water, and yeah.
And then this is the one that you make me all the time. It's truly quite delicious, but maybe an easier version of that, which I really like, is the beef protein powder, peanut butter, milk, and what did I forget? So protein powder, and banana. That's it. Yep. Like I just like mine simple. I do one source of carb, one source of fat, protein powder, and if I can afford it, I'll do milk. Otherwise, I do water.
Yeah, and you also do dates sometimes, don't you? Don't you do dates and shakes sometimes?
Yeah. Before or after training, for sure. That's the only time.
Yeah, dates are a great option, and if you don't if you don't have any nut butters, you can even just put in raw nuts. Sometimes I put in raw nuts.
I love it.
Oil you could do as well.
Avocado oil is delicious.
Avocado oil? Okay, I've never done avocado oil. Yeah. Or even avocado in shakes.
I know. Yeah. My favorite, cherry and avocado. Oh my God. Yeah, so good. So yeah.
And maybe what you can do too, because I know you got lots of great recipes in terms of your own protein, protein balls and stuff like that.
Yeah. Protein balls, protein bars, granola bars, and all sorts of things that you can make with protein powder. But you'd have to put a certain amount on it. Like, what do you think about the whole chalky taste? It's something that I just got used to it. It's like I almost don't even, I can't taste it anymore. Or maybe it depends on the kind of protein. What do you think?
Yeah, so just actually FYI, the person that wrote this question said that I find that I don't like the chalky taste feel if I add more than a quarter cup, maybe means quarter scoop. Quarter cup's a decent amount. Well, actually, quarter cup would probably be about a scoop.
Yeah, that's what I think.
The thing is you're using a plant-based protein. If I remember correctly, this person's using a plant-based protein, and they're more chalky. Yeah, because it's pea-based protein. It's going to be very, very chalky and thick, and it's not going to be. It's not going to be as soluble, and it's not going to be as bioavailable, by the way. So I would highly, highly encourage you to go for a whey or a beef-based protein. and you're going to get a much higher quality protein as well with that. More bioavailable, and you're going to get a higher amount of essential amino acids as well. So, okay, we're over 10 minutes. Let's get the message of the day here quickly. Martina, you want to read this one out for us?
Yes, you are a recent reflection of your past.
That's right. You are a recent reflection of your past, especially, well, I mean, this goes for anything, whatever you're feeding yourself spiritually, mentally. In this case, obviously, we're talking more primarily about food. And the reason why we mention this message of the day is because there is no diet that you're going to follow where you're going to reach the end of it and you're going to attain some certain level of fitness or goal or fat loss, and then you can just do whatever you want afterwards and expect to maintain it. So whatever you choose to do, make sure it is something that you can sustain. You are just, after all, a recent reflection of your past, whatever dietary measures, mentally, and who you hang out with and what you think, etc. So, you've got to set yourself up with sustainability. All right. And with that, health. So resort to what when it comes to food?
Consistency.
Yes, that's not what I was looking for actually. With real whole foods.
Oh my God.
Okay. Real whole foods.
Spirituality and physicality.
Okay. Challenge yourself. We are. I think we're just I think I mentioned this in other videos. We're kind of soft when it comes to food. We've got to get back to eating our basic foods. Fruits, vegetables, tubers, roots, meats, fish, poultry, whole
dairy.
eggs. Certain dairy. These types of foods. Your basic foods. Okay, nuts. Certain butter, stuff like that. That'll be fine. Okay. So challenge yourself to be better. Okay. And remember, we've got to shoot for something that's more sustainable. Let's close down this video here. Okay. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and we will talk to you all very soon.